Hey everyone, thank you for watching. Today's video is going to be a new Will I Buy It. I post my Will I Buy It series every single Wednesday where I'm chatting over new makeup releases and discussing whether I'm planning to pick them up or pass over them. I always have a lot to chat about in these videos, so why don't we go ahead and get started. Alrighty, so I'm going to do this video similar to how I did last week's, which is where I kind of kicked off holiday releases, which is super crazy. But in the beginning of the video, I'm going to talk about the more like regular releases, and then I will switch over and finish out the video with the holiday releases. So first up, I have a palette here from Morphe, and I think this must have just released like the day after I filmed my video because I got so many comments in the video asking if I would touch on this palette. So this is called the 35V, the Stunning Vibes Artistry Palette. It has 35 shades with different finishes. It's going to be $24. It should be available right now at Ulta Beauty for Platinum members, and it's going to be available for everyone on the 16th of September. So I kind of know right off the bat that I'm not super interested in these. I used to purchase the big 35 Morphe palettes all of the time. Like I purchased the big palettes from BH Cosmetics. I purchased the big palettes from Morphe brushes. I definitely still have a bunch, like the 35R I really like, the 3502 I really like, the Jaclyn Hill palette I really do like. But more and more lately, I find myself not gravitating towards the bigger palettes. I actually prefer the more mini palettes right now with just lesser shades in there. To me, it's easier for me and how I do my makeup preferences. It's easier for me to look into a palette and immediately kind of know the color story that I'm going to get out of it rather than looking at 35 shades and being really, really overwhelmed and like not knowing what to do. So, I mean, I think it's a great price. For, 35 shades for $24. I think that's a great price. There's a lot of really interesting shades in there. There's a line of beautiful blues and purples, and there's beautiful shimmers in there. So it looks like a nice palette, but it's just not going to be one that I'm super interested to add into my collection. But last week I touched on the Urban Decay Naked Cherry palette, and after I filmed the video, it actually came out that it was going to be a like full collection. So not only is there going to be the eyeshadow palette, there's also going to be 3 new lipsticks, 2 eye pencils, and the Naked Cherry face palette and an all-nighter cherry scented spray, I believe that is. So I got pretty excited when I saw this and I was like, man, I wish that would have came out just like a couple hours earlier because then I could have included the entire collection. I am reading off Trend Mood 1's Instagram, so I always do have her linked in my description box as well, but I thought I'd come back this week and chat over the rest of the collection. Okay, so I have to say that I'm pretty interested in the face palette. For the lipsticks and the eye pencils, those like just don't get me going as much as like the eyeshadow palette and then also the face palette. Also the setting spray, I really do like the Urban Decay All-Nighter setting spray. I believe this one is like the all-nighter spray except it's supposed to have a cherry scent. That doesn't really like draw me in, like it's not like a must-have for me, but definitely the face palette is what I am super interested in. This one has a mirror. I think it has 2 different highlights, and then the blush in the middle is what I'm seeing here from the photo, but that I'm actually interested in as well. I love face palettes. I have like a mad obsession for face palettes. I don't know what it is. But I would say out of the entire collection, the eyeshadow palette and the face palette is what's calling to me. So Becca Cosmetics is coming out with a new highlighter. She's really coming out with a lot. I talked about the Opal highlighter last week, the one for breast cancer. Now this one is the Gold Lava. It's 24K gold with shimmering light pink pearl. It's going to be $38, and this is also going to be limited edition. I think it's already, yeah, it should already be for sale now, so of course I'll have everything linked down below. I can't say right away when I saw the photos, I was like, yes, that is the highlight I've been waiting for. I don't think I have any highlights like this in my collection, and I do like more intense highlights. Like I like a beaming highlight, but I'm more of like I have Pillowtalk on today, which is more of like this light pinky from Ofra, or I like champagne colored highlights. I'm not really like a gold, especially like a yellow gold highlight. That's not really what I go for with my highlights. So I'm gonna go ahead and pass over this one. I've bought a bunch of new highlights recently, so I probably don't need to pick up another one, but I just can't say looking at this one right away, I was like, you're going to need to spend $38 on that highlight. So I know that I can skip over that one. All right, so this also got announced fairly recently after I filmed. I typically film my Will I Buy It's on Monday because that gives me enough time to be able to get these up and edit it for Wednesday because I post right away in the morning. But these came out and I got so many tags on them because you guys might know, if you follow my channel, that I really enjoy the Huda Beauty Obsessions palettes. I own 4 of them now, I believe it is. I really like them. I talk about them a lot. They've really become one of the palettes that I travel the most with and take with me because, again, they're mini palettes. There's 9 shades in them. They're really small and compact though. They still have a mirror on them, so they're great for traveling, and I typically am out of town at least once a week, if not even more, so that's something that does matter to me. So she's coming out with some new palettes. This is the Precious Stones collection, and there is 5 new eyeshadows in here, 5 new eyeshadow palettes in here. They're $27 each. All 4 palettes that I have I think are great quality. Again, I touched on the packaging of them, and for $27 I just feel like that's a really great price. So now we have the Sapphire palette, which is more like the blue one, Amethyst, which is pinks and purples, Ruby, which is reds and pinks, Topaz is golden and oranges, and then Emerald has your greens. There's a mixture between the palettes of like mattes, duochromes, shimmers, and I'm just like, what, I don't know which one to get, like, because there's so many that call my attention. I'm thinking for the Amethyst, for the pinks and purples, I could probably say no to that one because I just bought the Norvina palette and I really do like that for the purples. But some of these, oh man, like the Topaz one looks beautiful, but I'm like, okay, I probably already have that, and it kind of also reminds me of her, is it called the Warm Mattes palette? I own that one from Huda Beauty, but I really do like it. I'm thinking maybe, I definitely want to get one. Like, just at this point, it's like, which one do I want? I don't know, but I definitely am not going to purchase all 5 because that's a lot. But I really do want to grab one, especially because some of these duochromes in here are really calling my attention. I'm thinking maybe this, like the Emerald one with the greens. I think that would be really pretty. It looks like there's some interesting shades in that one. I don't know. I think that these are really beautiful. It definitely caught my attention. The swatches look really nice. And again, I know that I already enjoyed these palettes and I don't think that they're a bad price tag. So they will be available September 17th, and Huda Beauty can also be found at Sephora. So I will definitely wait until they come into Sephora. So Makeup Shayla, she is a YouTuber here. She's coming out with another collaboration with Colourpop Cosmetics. They came out with a release a couple months ago. I have the Perception palette from that release and I think it is beautiful. We were out of town this past weekend for a wedding, and it's actually what I wore on my eyes that day, and I think the Perception palette is really beautiful. She is coming out with a new lip bundle. I think it's called like Slay Day. Yeah, Slay Day, and it is for her birthday. So she did a video on it. She swatched everything and showed everything and kind of talked about the idea that she had behind this collection. So the Slay Day lip bundle, it is available right now on the Colourpop website, at least at the time that I'm filming. It is still available. It's $16, and then you get Drippin', which is an ultra glossy lip. You get Shea Day, which is an ultra matte lip in violet purple. And then you also get Season 10, which is the Bright True Red. And I really quite enjoyed her explanation of what Season 10 meant in her video. That made me chuckle. So for me personally, I'm not going to, and you can also get these individually as well if you don't want to purchase the bundle. Just purchasing the bundle, you would get a little bit better of a deal. I'm going to skip over these mostly because the colors don't super interest me. Like a vibrant violet, I don't wear that a ton. The Bright True Blue Red, again, just not my most worn lip color of all time. And then for the ultra glossy lip, it's a Pearlescent Soft Peach with gold and silver glitter. This one did look really quite pretty. I don't wear gloss a ton. I have on a Buxom in White Russian today, just kind of more of a glossy lip over a lip liner. But they're just not colors or formulas that are my most reached for, so I don't feel like I need these. And I've also purchased a lot of lip products recently. If you watched some of my recent hauls, a lot of lip products going on. So I know that I can pass over these, but I think that they're a really good price. I do like Makeup Shayla. I like Colourpop, and like I said, her eyeshadow palette from their last release I think was so good. So I mean, if you feel like you would get use out of these, I would still recommend them. It's just not something that I personally feel like I need at this time, but again, another congrats to Makeup Shayla for another collaboration, because that's a pretty big deal. Okay, so Charlotte Tilbury also got lots of tags on this one. She is coming out with a full Pillowtalk collection, which includes an eyeshadow palette and also a blush. So at the time that I'm filming, the eyeshadow palette is sold out on the Charlotte Tilbury website. Super crazy. I thought about the eyeshadow palette because I've tried a lot of Charlotte Tilbury products and I like a lot of them. but I've never tried, at least I don't think I've ever tried eyeshadow palettes. And the shades look beautiful. It kind of reminds me a little bit of like the eye look that I have going on today. Something just like simple, neutral, a little bit of pink in there. Like the shades look really beautiful, don't get me wrong, but I just don't feel like I could spend that kind of money right now. Did anybody get this before it sold out? Let us know, but I looked at it, I thought about it, but I just was like, no, I can't do it. And then also the Pillowtalk blush that came out. So this is one of the Cheek to Chic blushes, which I've been kind of eyeing from Charlotte Tilbury for a while. I've put them in like wish list videos, my Beautylish wish list, my Sephora loves list, because Charlotte Tilbury is going to be sold at Sephora. I think it's starting this week. So this one is a two-toned pink and champagne powder blush. And you know, maybe I'll see if Pillowtalk will become available at Sephora, but again, it's just not something that I was going to run out and grab, and especially with more expensive products that I haven't tried myself before too, I like to be able to get in other reviews. I've seen a couple of reviews come in so far also, but you'll have to let us know if these were two things that you're like, I definitely have to go get, because Pillowtalk is like, Charlotte Tilbury is very known for the Pillowtalk, so it's exciting that she's doing a collection for it. But even though it interests me and I thought about it, it wasn't something that I felt the need to go out and get right away. So I have a new release here from Glossier. They're coming out with the Zit Stick. So it says it's a treatment that includes acne-fighting ingredients such as benzoyl peroxide, tea tree oil, salicylic acid, or a derivative, excuse me, of salicylic acid. And it's kind of like in a Tide to Go pen, according to Trend Mood, which I do agree with this. It layers over and under makeup. It's going to be $14, and it should be available already on the Glossier website. So very interesting. It looks quite unique and all of that. It's just one of those things where I don't feel like I need. I have been using those like Peace Out acne stickers for whenever I'm having breakouts, and I really do quite like those. And I actually have it's kind of like it looks kind of like a roller ball, like a perfume roller ball type thing. It's from Better Skin, or the Better Skin company. They're sold at Ulta. And it's like an acne treatment as well for like spot treating, and I know that has tea tree oil in it also. So that one I kind of use if I feel like I have like a very large friend that I need to take care of, and then the stickers I kind of use for like smaller, like if breakouts are just gonna pop up suddenly. So it's not something that I think that I need for myself right now, but it's interesting. And I don't know, $14 isn't too bad if it actually does what it says it's gonna do. That could be good. But I'm gonna go ahead and pass over that one. Huda Beauty also is coming out with a new concealer. I think I've kind of touched on this in the past. We kind of got like a sneak peek that we knew a concealer was coming, but it is going to be available October 8th. So this is the Overachiever Concealer. It has 31% pure pigment. The finish is supposed to be super natural looking, but also buildable to full coverage. It's supposed to have good skincare benefits in there. It has a cooling metal applicator to depuff and soothe the under eye area as you apply. It's going to be $30 each. She's also coming out with a double-ended brush with this release, which is going to be $25. Okay, so interesting, and I like trying concealers. When I first saw the photo of it, I thought it was going to be like a squeeze tube concealer, which is not my favorite. I like more of just like the regular wand to apply my concealer. But I thought it was interesting about the cooling metal applicator. I do like that, but I feel like I use those with like under eye treatments that I really like. I will say that that was kind of intriguing to me, and I wasn't expecting that. The brush I'm gonna pass over. I know that for sure. I don't feel like I need another brush, and I'm not a big fan of double-ended brushes because I don't like how you have to kind of like store them differently. I don't know. At first I was really thinking that I was definitely going to go ahead and pick this up, and now I'm kind of like, maybe I'll wait and see some reviews and see how people are liking the different style of applicator to it and all of that. So I'm going to hold off on this one just a little bit longer and see what people have to say about it. But yeah, so we finally have a date on the concealer that is coming from Huda Beauty. Big news from Natasha Denona. She is coming out with a new eyeshadow palette. Lots of tags on this one. This is the Safari palette. It's an army green packaging. It's all mattes. This is a limited edition palette, which I thought was interesting. It's going to be $129. It'll be available September 14th at Sephora and also on Beautylish. Okay, I was intrigued by the all matte palette, even though I have all shimmers on my eyes today, but I mostly gravitate towards mattes. So when I saw an all matte palette, I was like, interesting. But I've never been able to spend $129 on an eyeshadow palette. I'm just at this moment in time, I just can't do it. So I'm gonna pass over this one again because just like the price tag is too much for me right now. I cannot do it. But I like that the way that the palette looks. I think a lot of people would probably say like this is really boring. I know, I get it. But for me, I feel like I would use the shades in here. So I like the way that it looks. You know, there is the mirror on it. That's great and everything. It is limited edition, which I thought was interesting. So that might even, if I was considering on buying it, that might make me pull back a little bit because sometimes limited edition just gets a little bit tougher for having YouTube and all of that. But I just can't spend that much money on an eyeshadow palette right now. There might be a day in the future that I do it. I'm not saying never, okay? But just for me right now, I just can't. But who's gonna get it? Who's super excited about it? What do you think about the all matte? What do you think about the packaging? Let us know. There's another new highlight from Becca Cosmetics. Another one is a collaboration with Hatice Schmidt. Hopefully I'm saying that somewhat like along the lines of correctly. She is a YouTuber and this is the Berlin Glow. I believe she's from Berlin. The Berlin Glow, which is a pink pale highlighter, and it's supposed to be kind of geared towards people with like really, really fair skin. So that's fantastic. The packaging looks super cute on there. Again, I'm just gonna go ahead and pass over this. I think I would like this shade a lot more, especially compared to like the gold one that I talked about earlier. I feel like this is a shade that I would really get on with. I'm not familiar with the collaborator, which isn't always a big deal. You know, I still purchase collaborations with people that I don't know about if something just catches my attention even more. But I can't say but I also do the flip side. I buy things because I want to support the collaborator. For me, this one that doesn't come into play here, but again, I have a lot of highlights. I've bought a lot of highlights recently, so I feel like I can skip over that. But are you so excited to see this one? Let us know what you think about the new Becca release. Another new Becca highlight release. Okay, and then let's go ahead and move over to the holiday releases and I will see how many I can get through this week. I actually did have this on my list to talk about last week. It was getting too loud with the thunder and the rain and I was really uncomfortable sitting in front of a window with all that happening. But I did want to touch on this one from Hourglass Cosmetics. So this is the Ambient Lighting Edit Unlocked. Okay, and it says that they are donating 5% to Non-Human Rights Project with this palette here, which I immediately thought was super interesting. I think that's great. So it does say that this one is out of stock on the Hourglass website, but they're supposed to have new exclusive shades of powder, bronzer, blush, and metallic strobe powder. It says a portion of the profits from the palette will go to support the Non-Human Rights Project, the only civil rights organization in the United States working to secure legally recognized fundamental rights for non-human animals. So there is the different shades in there, and this is going to be $80. So it's a very expensive palette. I know people get really excited when Hourglass comes out with their holiday palettes each year. I personally have never purchased one myself because they've just been too high of a price. I have tried some of the powders from Hourglass. I've tried the ambient lighting blush. I've tried, I think, bronzer from them as well. And it's just, they're not something that I go crazy over. And they're not something that I feel like I can justify the price for. Like, I like them and I still use the blush, but especially for the palette with the 6 different shades, I don't think that I would get enough use out of it, and I especially don't think I would get enough use out of it for $80. I know though that I feel like I have the unpopular opinion with the Hourglass ambient lighting powders because so many people love and adore them. So you'll have to let us know if you're planning to get this palette, if you already got the palette, if you want to get it when it comes back in stock. But for me, it's just too pricey. And with my experience with these in the past, I just would not be able to get enough use out of them. But I also think it's really cool what they're doing with a portion of the proceeds. This release I thought was pretty interesting from Too Faced. And this might have been like my most tagged on item, no lie. So this is the gingerbread spice eyeshadow palette. It's supposed to smell like gingerbread, which is very interesting. There's also going to be a melted matte lipstick in Gingerbread Girl, but just looking at the palette, this holiday release is interesting to me because to me it looks more like a regular Too Faced release. Like the packaging reminds me, you know, of like the Sweet Peach, you know, kind of like the tin palette and all of that, and just like the layout in there, instead of like what I talked about with last week with Too Faced with like the really big palettes and the really big sets. Because again, like how I said last week, a lot of times holiday releases don't excite me anymore because I have a very large makeup collection. You know, I'm more of like a makeup collector these days, and so I don't necessarily need these big holiday releases with so many different eyeshadows and eyeliners and mascaras. And they're a great deal and they're super great gifts, especially for people who don't buy a lot of makeup themselves. Like I said, I used to get these and I thought that they were great and I would use them until they, you know, until next Christmas came around, and then I got another gift. So that was fantastic. But more and more these days, I don't gravitate toward them. But just a regular eyeshadow palette like this, I was like, okay, Too Faced, you have my attention. I think that's kind of cool. So the swatches in here look really pretty. There's a couple pinks in there that I don't think I was expecting. I don't know why when I saw that like bright pink, I was like, I don't know if that's what I would have envisioned in the gingerbread spice palette, but a lot of the shades look really pretty, and I'm actually kind of considering this one. I'm assuming that this will be a limited edition since it's part of the holiday release. And I also don't see a price on it. I'm assuming it probably, I think like the Sweet Peach and such is $49, but that one actually kind of caught my attention and I got a little excited about it, I'm not gonna lie. So I'm gonna be eyeing that one. I think that was a smart release on Too Faced parts. Too Faced parts. You know what I'm saying? I've been filming for a while already. This is from Marc Jacobs. It is their holiday collection. So everything in the holiday collection, you kind of know it's the holiday because it's all in this like really pretty gold packaging. It's very eye-catching packaging, I will say. It's going to be a limited edition. So we have, I mean, there's a lot of different things in here. The Sequins Glam Glitter eyeshadows. We have the Omega Glaze, all over foil luminizer for face and body. There's the High Shine Lip Lacquers. There's a liquid lip crayon collection. I mean, there's just a lot going on in here. So I really like the packaging on a lot of these different things. I think the only one that's really catching my attention is the Sequins Glam Glitter eyeshadows, which are $28, and they come in a variety of different shades. I don't know why these are calling to me so much, but Hourglass also just put out some of these, and those I'm really interested in, and a lot of people are saying really good things about them. I think I'm actually gonna go for the Hourglass over these ones, but I feel like to me that was really the only thing that called out. But there's a couple different sets in there that could be, again, like good for gifting. I see some with like mini lipsticks and eyeshadows. Other than that, not a whole lot stuck out to me. Some people thought maybe like the highlight I was gonna go for. I think I'm actually not though, because again, it didn't make me do the double take right away. So unless I do the double take right away, then I know that I can probably talk myself out of something. And it was just one of those that I was like, oh, that's interesting, but not like a, ooh, that's interesting. You know, there's like a difference. Yeah, it's like a difference. So Too Faced has even more going on. I'm just gonna touch on these two other palettes that it seemed people were interested in talking about. Oh, and this did also confirm $49 for the gingerbread palette. So that's what I thought. But they have a bunch of different sets that they're putting out and all of that, but they're also coming out with the mini palette Sugar Cookie, which is $26, and then the Tickled Peach mini palette, which is $26 also. These again just look more interesting to me than a lot of like the really big sets. And again, I just want to stress that they do make sense for a certain, you know, demographic, but for my personal need, the big sets don't really do it for me. But these little palettes also kind of intrigue me, and I like the mini palettes, so I don't know, I'm kind of interested in those too. I think the mini Tickled Peach, that is the one that calls to me a little bit more than the cookie one, but it's like I would have to decide, do I actually really need that for $26? Or if I decide to pick up the Huda Beauty, which I think that's the route that I'm gonna go, the Obsessions palette, I think I would want that one just a little bit more. And I still have the Sweet Peach palette from Too Faced, and it looks like, you know, maybe the shades that are in there, you would also get in this mini palette, so I probably don't need the palette, so I think I'll be able to talk myself out of them. But again, I just liked these a little bit more, so I think that's kind of cool what Too Faced is doing. But yeah, they are gonna have a lot of different sets and bundles coming out, that's for sure. There's also some really interesting names, which we've kind of come to expect, including the Year of Great Sex set. So there's that. But out of the holiday collection so far, what has my attention is the Gingerbread Spice palette. Those mini palettes I think are cool, but I'm probably going to end up passing over them. But yeah, there's a lot different going on from Too Faced. And on that note, that's gonna wrap it up for today's video. Okay, so that is gonna do it for this week's Will I Buy It video. I would love to know what you thought of the different products that I mentioned in here. What are you planning to get? What are you passing over? What do you think about some more new holiday releases that are coming on? What has your attention? But other than that, that is gonna do it for today's video. If you guys did enjoy it, I hope that you'll give it a thumbs up. I hope that you'll also consider subscribing before you go, and I'll catch you guys in tomorrow's video.